Hello everyone. Today we're going to go ahead and create a classic tween in Adobe Animate. After you've opened up a new Adobe Animate, we're going to go ahead and select Create New. And with Create New selected, a little pop-up menu here, we're going to follow along and we're going to stick with our standard preset frame. And we'll just say Create. Once this opens up, we have our Adobe Animate file here. Everything's ready to go. We want to make sure that we're set with all of our tools out properly for Adobe Animate. We're going to go to the upper right hand side, and where it says workspaces, we want to make sure that we're not set for classic, designer, developer, etc. We want those animator tools out. So we'll click on animator to make sure that we look and we have this screen. Now, to create our motion tween, I'm going to be talking about just the tools we need for a motion tween. There are many other tools on here, and we'll be talking about them in future videos. But for this one, we're going to talk about just creating that classic motion tween. Now we're going to start off and talk about the timeline that is right here. This is essentially where all of that magic and everything that we do is put to make that motion happen. Keyframe number 1, which is this little notch, and we'll call all of these little notches here almost like sprockets on a strip of film. Each one of these little ones contains an image. For keyframe number 1 here, it's selected automatically. It is a circle that is hollow. That means it's a blank keyframe. Nothing is on the stage to fill that spot. What we're going to do is we're going to create an object, simple object, that to move for animation. We're going to use a rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the rectangle once, left click on it, and then I'm going to go over to the stage artboard here and click one time, drag and let go, and there is my rectangle. So it doesn't matter what color it is. This is just the color I happen to have. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to click on that selection tool, my arrow, and left click and drag a box around my object. You'll notice that the entire thing is pixelated. That's what we want. We want it all selected. I'm going to use the keyboard now, and I'm going to use Control or Command if you have a Mac or PC, and use that in combination with the letter G. So Command G in my case. So I've selected that now and locked it all together. Now I can left click and drag on this and move it anywhere. As you can see, it's all together. But I'm going to start off with saying I'm going to move it right where I want it to start that motion at. So I'm going to move it over here, the left-hand side of the stage. So I have the motion that I'm going to do. I'm going to have it start stage left here and move over to the right. Okay. Now, on keyframe number 1, you'll notice that now it's turned into a black dot, a solid black dot. That means there's content on that keyframe. But what I want to do is I want to stretch that out for a period of time. You'll notice that on the timeline here, we're set right here at 30 frames per second. So that means from 1 to 30, there's 1 second, 30 to 60, 2 seconds, etc. What I want this object to do is to move 2 seconds worth of time. So what I need to do is go down on the timeline, and I'm going to click on the keyframe that's right below the 2 second mark. So I'm just going to left click one time. You notice there's a blue rectangle there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that. I'm going to stretch that out. I need to stretch this keyframe to last that duration of time. So I go back to the keyboard, and at the top of the keyboard, you're going to look for the key that says F6. That's F as in Frank, 6. Hit it one time, and what it's done now is this gray that you see here, this has extended this keyframe out for 2 seconds. So it's a static image starting here that's just extended out for 2 seconds. Now, what I need to do now is I need to convert this from a static image to an image that I can program to move. So I'm going to right click on keyframe number 1, and I'm going to say create classic tween. That's the first setting up there. Create classic tween. And yes, I want to go ahead and change that into a symbol, so I automatically say OK. Now what I'm going to do is this has got now set to go as a classic tween in the programming stage. It's got these little black dots here. It's in progress, but it's not finalized. So what I need to do now is I need to go ahead and in purple, at the very last frame, in purple there, I'm going to right click and say insert keyframe. Now when I say insert keyframe, I'm putting a copy of what's in the first frame in this sequence of movement. You'll notice now that it's a black dot in there. So now I have an exact copy of this object at the beginning and at the end. But this line now that appears, you notice now these little dots have disappeared, and now it's turned into a solid black arrow. This means that now this is ready to be set up as a tween. So I know where I want the keyframe to start, or where the object's going to start off stage. I've already placed it there. And I want it to end on the right side off stage. So with that keyframe selected, I'm going to go ahead, left click, and then I'm going to drag, and then release, and set it off to the side. Just relax. Now all I have to do is just hit return or enter on my keyboard. That's it. That's the tween. Let's create the object, extend out the timeline, create the section of time you want, insert a keyframe, and then put the object in its place. So, and if you wanted to test that, we can see what it looks like in a movie. We can go to Control and Test Scene. And there we are. We're looking at it, just a tester, and we're watching it go by. It looks like it's going one after the other. That's because it's repeating. When it gets to the end of the 2-second mark, it just repeats back to the beginning again. Now, I will say if you wanted to stretch this out and you wanted to have this go further or have a slow down, click on the first keyframe in that instance, in that time, and then use the F key, F5 key at the top of the keyboard like we did before, and just press it, hold it out, and now I've gone ahead and extended this out for 4 seconds. So again, I wouldn't go to the last frame and drag it. I go to the first frame and push everything along. But now if I hit enter, now you see it's taking twice the time to go across. It takes 4 seconds to move the same distance. Again, to test it, Control, Test Scene. And you can see it's just taking its sweet time moving across, taking that 4 seconds. All right, so at this point, this is what I would like you to do. You're going to go ahead and make a test simple classic tween for yourselves, and go ahead and upload that to the discussion board. Good luck, have fun.